Okay, hi everyone. It looks like we reached the top of the hour. Welcome to our second Twitter Spaces. Forgive me, I am fighting a bit of a cold, so I might sound a little stuffy, but I'm excited to be here, just as excited as I was for the first one. So last Friday, we had our very first Twitter Spaces. We're joined by key team members of Menthol Protocol. We had Salim. He spoke. He's our CEO, but again, as he mentioned, we don't really work with titles. We're a team. We work together, and we are all here for the same mission. But if we need titles, he is our CEO. But again, we all work together, and titles don't really fit well with the team, I guess. Can't think of another way to say it, but in any case, he talked about sustainability and the trials and tribulations that go into being, the green pill movement as we are here at Menthol. He touched on many different points, his background, what he's done within the sustainability and energy ecosystems. We also had Amir, who is here today as well. He spoke quite a bit, and he's going to be given the floor to speak on refi today, Menthol Protocol, and other topics. We also had Daniel. He is, again, no titles, but the head of our growth and marketing. He is the genius behind our ambassador program. And if anyone hasn't had the opportunity to take a look at our website and what goes into becoming an ambassador for Menthol Protocol, I would urge you to do so. And that's a brief recap of what we spoke about in our first Twitter Spaces. But again, it is recorded and you can review it for more in-depth explanation. But today we have Amir that's going to take the stage. Hello, Amir.
Hello, Ashley. How are you doing? I hope you're feeling better. As you mentioned, you're a bit under the weather.
We're working on it, but I'm getting better every day. Thank you.
Awesome. So, it's great and such a pleasure to welcome all of you to the second Twitter space of Menthol Protocol. In case you haven't tuned into our last week's episode, my name is Amir, and I'm a very proud core contributor of Menthol Protocol, working with a team of 17 plus people on making climate transparency and actionability just a few clicks away. We are an international cool crew and hope to enchant the world with climate positivity. I think we've mentioned very shortly our cool token. So our token, namely the cool token, that's the name, will launch in Q1 2023. And we are super thankful to have great backers by our side who believed in our vision early on and trusted our team to innovate and further accelerate the solution ecosystem for climate action. So a huge shout out to Republic. We love working with the whole team. And it has been such a pleasure meeting you also in person. Also a special thank to LD Capital, led by Shi, who is strongly supporting Menthol Protocol and allowing us to build the blockchain regeneration layer. We know that we do not have much time in respect of the climate crisis and are urged to transition towards a regenerative future. Having that said, and looking at the current solutions out there, Selim mentioned in our last Twitter space what a painful process this actually was to purchase renewable energy credits. And that was not too long ago. So against this background, we are leveraging the innovations possible through tokenizing impact tokens and are creating a powerful middleware serving towards bringing climate transparency and actionability with just a few clicks. Menthol serves the purpose to empower tokenizers of green assets. So there are great projects out there which are bringing tech liquidity into to the supply side of the refi market. And we really want to build the best middleware for them and allow them to have a seamless and highly innovative customer relationship with our middleware. From a demand perspective, Menthol allows anybody to take action with just a few clicks. So we already mentioned in our last Twitter space that we are I'm really excited to launch soon. That soon means in the next few months, but we've got amazing partners we are already working with. Behind the screens, we will have really great partnership announcements to follow from the technology perspective, from the refi perspective, but also from like real world projects. So we're really, really much looking forward to that. Menthol Protocol, as mentioned, is a fully automated and decentralized blockchain sustainability layer, allowing any Web3 or non-Web3 project to turn climate positive. As mentioned, we've got a Menthol's cool leaderboard, and we will offer an additional value proposition with that by ranking any Web3 project according to their carbon footprint and giving them there the option to actually automate their transition towards climate positivity and effectively move up this cool leaderboard. We are looking very much forward to fine-tune our on-chain solution and offer it then to the non-Web3 space, empowering any individual and organization with the cool pool. Anyhow, I hope you maybe checked out our Medium article. If not, please do so. The third one is elaborating a little bit more about Menthol Protocol solution ecosystem. But you can also check out our latest Medium article. Actually, it was just published a couple of hours back. Here we talk about community first. In our second article, we talked about mental values, and the community next to regeneration forms a central pillar of Menthol Protocol. So we are, against this background, actually very proud of having received 150 applicants for our Menthol Ambassador program. Also, if we're still going through the applications, we will have every ambassador whitelisted for an NFT drop we plan, not too long away from now. In case we have time, by the end of this session today, we will discuss the utility of the NFTs, actually unlocking cool pools. And in general, we want to talk about how we plan on cool pooling the world, including individuals and organizations in Web3 and beyond. As we are like a small, cozy group over here, I want to invite you once again. I think we already had talks here and there, but anybody out of the current live Twitter space who wants to say hello, we are looking forward to hear from you. In case you're just tuning in and you're still exploring the refi space at an early stage or haven't even heard about it at all, I would like you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. In fact, I'm inviting all listeners to join. Now slowly releasing your breath, I once again warmly welcome you to the refi space, a nurturing environment within the deep spaces of Web3 and climate action. Here in the refi space, we do not only jointly care about the earth and reaching a regenerative and hence value increasing state over time. Equally, we care for a regeneration within our social interactions, so respecting ourselves on an individual level, while also spreading positive energy and being as supportive as possible to our community with a bit of love. Here we invite you to share who you are and how we can help you. And us green-pilled folks will be more than happy to support you with our resources. Here in the deep rabbit hole of refi, we did not even feel the bear market. We are just focused on building world-class products. So in today's Twitter space, we not only want to give you the chance to get to know us, as mentioned, we would love to talk about a few topics and forge a common understanding, as refi, in fact, is highly interdisciplinary. Therefore, we would like to discuss, maybe we have some people coming from the refi space listening in, or only from the regeneration side, maybe only a few from the Web3 side. So therefore, we want to discuss what is Web3, how does it fit in with climate action? And before starting to discuss the evolution to Web3, I would like to tell you the story about how I entered the crypto and blockchain Web3 space. We've got a few people who are ill, but in the next episodes, we'll have more people from our team introducing themselves. So maybe if there's anybody who wants to introduce themselves beforehand, you can raise a hand. If not, I'm super happy to go ahead and give a small introduction of myself. So I'll give a small introduction. So my name is Amir. I was actually born in the States. Have a Pakistani background. When I was small, I lived in Dubai, Sri Lanka. Then we moved to Germany. That's where my grandfather actually moved in the 50s from Pakistan to Germany. And so I'm like from my mother's side in the third generation there. 1999, my mom wanted to move to Germany. So ever since I grew up and lived in Germany, I actually after school studied business and economy in Frankfurt and in Münster, both beautiful places in their own way. I also had the option to study in Singapore and the California State University in Fresno. So I got really cool insights of, different cultures, but also different academic approaches. I worked with a lot of different companies throughout my bachelor's and master's. Also worked in a family business with my father. So I had like quite interesting experiences and had already the first startup, which I wanted to launch right after my master's. But I was also working at the Institute for Information and System Technologies in Münster during my master's. And my prof, he actually asked me if I did not want to do a PhD. Actually, at the time, I didn't consider that at all, as I was all about startup. But then I thought maybe to postpone my startup and take the chance of improving my academic skills and my analytical skills. So it was a really cool department, like institute, which was doing a lot of consulting for different fields, all in respect of digital transformation. So I actually took the chance and continued with my research field of Industry 4.0, which is about like having smart factories which are interconnected across supply chains and are fully automated without or as little human interaction as possible. So covering this Industry 4.0, I actually came across blockchain technology. So blockchain technology there was discussed as an institutional technology, allowing you to store value in the internet, which is a novelty. And now more importantly, addressing the Industry 4.0 case, it would allow microtransactions. It would allow a trustable system for those machines to communicate and pay each other accordingly. So in this Industry 4.0 concept, object machines, and they have like their own also economic life, which one can like encode and see to it that they have positive cash flows. So I actually spent like 1 year intensely falling down the blockchain rabbit hole and researching all about it. Eventually, that was like 4 years back, I dropped out in order to actually do a few projects, which I was at the time writing about. So like if you have a academic paper in general, you have to have a research question. You have to have a methodology, you have assumptions, and you have methodologies and data collection in order to have an empirical foundation for the research topic, the research questions you're answering. So I started with like a systemization and characterization of blockchain technology. Me as a business student, it was very tough for me at first to understand this whole world. So I'm very much looking forward in today's space talking about it and talking about how to understand, or how I understand at least, blockchain technology. After writing about the fundamentals of blockchain, I took a look at different use cases. And at the time, one of them was actually looking of how one can use blockchain technology across supply chains to store the ESG data of the supply chain transparently, allowing the user at the end of the day to see the full scope emission. So that was early thoughts and ideas. Everybody in blockchain at the time was looking for use cases. So being here a couple of years later and actually working on such a phenomenal project in the intersection of sustainability is really cool. So maybe that's a good jump to start talking about blockchain and what it is, how to understand it for the people for whom that's new. From a general concept level, blockchain can be understood as a database, as a register, which has three criteria. On the one hand, it's decentral. So the register is distributed across different participants holding the register. We've got cryptographic encryption, meaning that although everybody shares the same database, we've got encryption, so not everybody sees everything. I think people know about pseudo-anonymous, a feature of the blockchain that means you can figure out someone at the end of the day indirectly. So it's not 100% anonymous. So besides being decentral and having cryptographic encryption as a basis, we also have within the blockchain technology token-powered consensus mechanisms, right? For Bitcoin, which is a register of transactions, of financial transactions, we have the proof of work as a consensus mechanism, which allows to validate transactions and basically rewards people with tokens, with Bitcoin for performing the task. So that's also how I learned and understood blockchain. Blockchain is a technology looking for use cases and allows stakeholders to align towards a common goal. That's also like if we talk about the shift from information technology to institution technology. Institution is a set of rules by definition. So it really captured me, this whole blockchain stuff, because of those exciting criteria I've just mentioned. If you take a look at Web3, at blockchain, in a like historical perspective, and take a look at Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, Web 1.0 can be understood as the internet of information. You would basically only read information on it. So it's like a read-only database or register behind it. Web 2.0 marks the rise of the platform economy. We've got the internet of interaction. So you can read and write as a user. We've got user-generated content. We've got those huge monopolies of not open sourced technology, but proprietary technology of the GAFA companies, for instance, which basically, concentrate a lot of power and use that's a problem of the platform economy, right? Concentrate their power and basically leverage everybody as they have the customer contact and they have the data, and therefore they're at the in a more powerful position. So this is also like with Web3 addressing general central failures and failing systems, like in the financial industry. But in general, Web3 and blockchain advocates towards disintermediating the current power structures of platform companies grabbing a lot of power, building strong network effects, and basically owning the data for themselves. So Web3 offers the promise, to disintermediate, to give power back to the people, so to say, in a certain way. And of course, there'll not be, as like maybe in the research thought, or as I just mentioned, a complete disintermediation where no intermediary services will be there. They'll be very much needed, but they'll have a different leverage. So Menthol Protocol being an open source Web3 project, which basically I didn't talk about the last shift. So we're not talking about read and write of internet, Web 2.0. We are now in Web 3.0, which is read, write, and own. So we've got the possibility to tokenize. That's a huge innovation, to tokenize different assets such as carbon credits, addressing very important issues in the carbon credit market. We mentioned them in our last call, but those big projects such as Region Network or Flow Carbon, who just raised their 70 million, being very loud in the refi space. They're raising this money to tokenize carbon credits, to bring them on chain, because there are huge efficiencies which we expect. And due to us building intermediary services, but in an open source way with very low fees, we basically shift away from this concentrated platform economy, centralized power structures, to collaborative and really open projects. So that's like a wonderful thing, actually, when looking and working in the refi space. So I basically talked about Web3, about blockchain, where it came from looking at a historic perspective, what kind of key attributes it has. From a regeneration perspective, and looking at the carbon offsetting market, we see that the carbon offsetting market is one very crucial step towards turning towards a regenerative state. So this allows you to actually offset your remaining carbon footprints. We know from a sustainability or from a climate crisis perspective that we all have to push, any individual, any organization, we have to push towards reducing our carbon footprint, our individual carbon footprint, to more mindful processes, incorporating also the costs for the environment. And after we have reduced, let's say, our carbon footprint, like for companies by 2050, 2030, 2035, they want to reduce it by 90%, or that's the aim, which is there in order to manage the climate crisis. Basically, Menthol Protocol, wants to make this regenerative process very easy. We want to calculate your carbon footprint remaining after your efforts and purchase carbon credits to benefit climate positive projects. And this brings us also to another term, which I think would be lovely to talk about shortly. It's regenerative finance. So we've talked about the carbon credit market, tokenizing assets and bringing them into a liquid and digital market has its advantages, as exemplified by tokenizers of carbon credits and Menthol Protocol as a middleware. The next point which we want to take a look at is regenerative finance. And what does that mean? How does it maybe differ from traditional finance? So that's an interesting angle to take a look at. We had our different talks and ideas, and basically, came to the conclusion that regenerative finance differs from traditional finance in its ethics, in its fundamentals, and its strategies. Traditional finance is about extracting systems and accumulation of wealth. It's far more short-term oriented and opportunistic than maybe allowing for positive sum games to evolve. And coming from a fundamental perspective, cash is seen here as the end and not as a mean to an end. So naturally, if there's no, in this system of opportunistic behavior, if there's no cost to the environment, but exactly the opposite possibility, namely to extract value and to profit by harming the environment, the regenerative finance practices is not only from an ethical perspective, but from different perspectives, I think a very nice path to take and to better understand. How does regenerative finance differ from this extracting behavior of the traditional finance? First of all, it's all about circular systems. It's about allowing regenerative positive sum games in the long run to evolve by also allowing to create more value over time on this way. It's also about, from a fundamental perspective, seeing cash only as a means to an end, not as the end. Whereas the end from a regenerative finance perspective includes a happy stakeholders, in particular also for Mother Earth. So this is, I think me as a business student, I had the opportunity to look at the world and to decide where do I want to hop into. So I would say 10 years back when I was looking at it, investment banking would have been an interesting approach for me to follow from my interests at the time and my own goals. So this very cold traditional finance world is not the only thing existing there. It's great to see regenerative finance appear over here, addressing such important and honorable points. So we are super happy to be part of this refi movement. And this brings us maybe to one question, or to one point we were raising in our tweet. Why green-pilled? So in short, why are we green-pilled? Because we have to. We have a golden hour, meaning that we have a short time window to take action against the climate crisis. And now it is about getting our focus together and firstly reducing our carbon footprint. We'll talk in different episodes of how we can also address off-chain cases in Menthol Protocol, but it's about reducing the carbon footprint drastically while ensuring a transition to a regenerative future, meaning that we will collectively assess the remaining carbon footprint and offset through mechanisms of the carbon credit offsetting market, which is currently one of our most important tools to execute climate action. I've been talking for a long time. I'm very happy to take any questions. Do we have any comments from the group? Otherwise, I'm happy to use the 5 minutes and talk more about refi and Menthol.
Hi, Amir. I do have some questions. This is Ashley. Can you talk about one major innovation of Web3 in your opinion?
One major innovation of Web3 actually lies in the tokenization of things. You basically now have with Web3 a safe digital environment where you can copy any object, any human, any right, and tokenize it and automate it within a broader system. What Menthol protocol is basically doing is we are cool pooling the whole world. We are creating for any individual and organization a cool pool, basically also bringing that individual organization on the blockchain layer with the option, and that's the cool thing about smart contracts and blockchain, allowing here an application to unfold, which basically puts your regeneration goals on autopilot. So this aspect of really shifting things over to the digital world and then exploring new business models, that's really cool.
Awesome. And moving forward, how does Menthol protocol plan on growing within this Web3 space?
So for now, we really were not concentrating too much on growth of community. As mentioned before, we were rather quiet. So now in the last few weeks, I think there was already the first partnership announcement coming up. We are opening our Twitter spaces. We have different activities and have been working on the foundation of different really cool ambassador programs. So for us now, the next step to grow is to onboard the many partners we are talking with, to have joint activities with our partners. Basically, we are talking here directly to the projects, but also, and maybe even more importantly, with the communities themselves. So we'd love to explore, to talk with different communities and allow them to kickstart their climate positivity and actually also reap a benefit from it. I think we'll keep that for a next Twitter space on how our community revenue sharing cool pools might look like.
Awesome. Thank you. And now that we have, I think, a few more minutes, and you mentioned community, what will the community or the DAO decide?
So besides of different protocol parameters, there are like a few central aspects to it. On the one hand, looking at the demand side, we want to have a supply side. We want to have a decentral cool listing. That means we want to have different partners, maybe even local partners who allow the onboarding of new suppliers on the cool list. The cool thing over here is that we'll have data and AI powered solutions to also do quality assurance over here, but still we want to have this decentral aspect to it. On the other side, looking at the demand side, and especially thinking of the times after decarbonizing Web3 and reaching out to the non-Web3 world, I would love for the community to get involved and to choose with us what are the next non-Web3 categories we want to onboard onto the cool leaderboard of Menthol, shedding light on, for example, the fashion industry or the food industry, whatnot, shedding light on the carbon footprint of those different participants and allowing them to actually move up the cool leaderboard, putting their climate positivity goals on autopilot. So the demand side and the supply side and how to basically grow and further build. That's where the DAO will, I think, be, where we'll see great involvement at these very important step points.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amir. You made it right to the 30-minute mark. Amazing.
Awesome. That's great. So if there's nothing more, no more questions, we can, I think, break it up. Thanks everybody for joining and for maybe tuning in later. Looking forward to our next Twitter space. Thank you, Ashley. And do feel better soon.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you. Bye.